Hey guys, good evening. It's your goddess, Divine Mother, Goddess Yamaya, and I wanted to come to you guys and share with you guys, well, not even you guys, I want to say ladies, but I can make this for men too, because I know some people, they feel like it's really strenuous if you're not, if you're an adult and you're not involved in sexual activities. But for me, even as a young teenager, most girls, they were sexually active and things like that, especially right after they grew into puberty and got their periods and stuff like that. But for me, it was always something that made me nervous. I was really nervous when I was a teenager and even a young kid, because when I was a kid, I was raped. And aside from that, just like a lot of people, even when I was a kid, people used to do weird stuff in my family where they would play games and stuff like that, or just like kids in the neighborhood. But mainly my family would do things like play hide and seek, which was ultimately hide go get it, and do all type of stuff. And then there's even this really crazy story that I'm not going to talk about ever on blog, but I'm gonna write about it in a book one day. And one of the things that was something that was worrisome for me growing up was that if sex was so big for even kids, then how would it be? And then if kids would be so treacherous with the act, then how would adults be when I got older? So I was like really scared, even growing into like virginity, losing my virginity and stuff like that. When I was ultimately 15 years old, which is a really, really young age, but for a lot of other girls, it is not considered a young age. But growing up in a household where I didn't have my biological father or the correct father figure, it was ultimately me trying to do the best thing that I thought was right, which was under peer pressure, which is why they try to teach you in school to not be tempted into peer pressure. And I don't even know if they're still teaching that nowadays, how bad it's gotten even worse than when I was in school, in high school, which was the early 2000s. I don't even know how they are now that we're in the further off Generation X or Z or whatever the hell we're in. But anyways, yes. So pretty much I was nervous about it, and when I finally did do it, got into sexual activities with my boyfriend at the time, because of my family members who I was hanging around with, which were older than me, and as well as my sister. Getting involved in it, I was feeling like the odd one out because I was the only one who wasn't doing it, and I felt like I should be a part of it. I was like being left out, and I felt awkward and stuff like that. So I did it really for the wrong reasons, and awkwardly enough, right after literally the event happened, the next day, the song by Mary J. Blige, "Runaway Love," came out, not even just that, but I think it was that and s.e.x by Life Jennings. And I know for sure it was s.e.x because I felt super stupid after it came out, and I really had wished that I had songs like that out before I thought about it. But I was moving fast, trying to be like other people and really not having a self-identity, because I never really had a self-love within myself, or felt love really growing up in my household and things like that. So pretty much thinking that that would ultimately lead to me having real love, because the person who I did lose my virginity to, he actually did care about me, and I did really care about him as well. But we were both really young and didn't know any better for the most part. And we thought we were grown, and I especially thought we were grown because I was dating a guy who was basically in a street life pretty much, and he didn't go to school. He pretty much took care of himself, and he was doing really good taking care of himself, even though he wasn't one of the top best guys where he was hanging out at and where he lived at and stuff like that, because everything was in his house. But anyway, I felt grown being able to be his girlfriend and stuff like that, and care about him when he was really attractive and a lot of girls liked him. But anyway, so aside from that, it was all out of stupidity. And as I grew up, I fell into more things, bad sexual habits and activities based off of my childhood traumas, and just no love in my household and stuff like that, or from my parents, or really just from my mom, because I grew up without a dad. My dad died when I was really young. He was killed, murdered when I was only 2. And so yeah, without having a father as a young girl, that really can ruin you, especially if you're not being praised and loved as you should, or being told how beautiful you are and things like that when you're young, and you having to basically grow past that. And so those were things that I had to grow past, and had to get to the point of where it didn't matter to me about what other people thought about me, basically just loving myself. And it really truly did take up into recently this year alone for me to fully submerge myself into that. But before that, I went through a lot of other things with domestic violence and stuff like that, and mainly domestic violence stemming from basically me not wanting to be engaged in sexual activities with my kid's dad. And so it would lead to physical fights and things like that. So ultimately, I just chose not to care about it, and chose not to even care about myself, and dived into ultimately getting into prostitution, where obviously if you're into prostitution and things like that, you're involved in a lot of sex too. And so because of that, and ultimately getting caught in a sting, which was called a red book, was like one of the biggest things. It was a red book sting, and my case was like one of the biggest cases, where we ended up going to jail. I ended up getting out that same night, but the person I was with, who was also my boyfriend, not just the person who they consider a pimp or whatever, he wasn't human trafficking me, but he was my boyfriend, and he was my childhood friend, and I pretty much talked him into it, to the point of where I had to also get him out of it, to where he didn't get as much time as he would have gotten. And so everything ended up working out later on, but we did miss a lot of time, and he missed a lot of time, which was not right, but because of the love that he had for me. And so I will always have a love for him, even though right now we're currently not talking based off of other events that happened in our life. But that was one of the things that helped wake me up, because I knew, even though that was what I was engaging in was something that was small and something for me to get by with my kids and stuff like that, and me to help him too, and his family, and us to help each other. But it ended up leading to me losing a lot of time for a few years, where I had to get back on track, and it took a lot of time for me to get back on track, because I had built up this bad karma, and I had to erase that bad karma. And so it took from 2014 to 2021 for that bad karma to get off of me. So ultimately it took 7 years for the karma to leave me, and for me to be freed. But by that time, so many things had happened. And so once I finally got alone and got to really understand myself, and got to fall in love with myself, and everyone who was around me, who was helping or encouraging, or not even just encouraging, but basically by not trying to give me advice on what not to do, and basically for me to have to pull myself out of all of these situations by myself, it led me to know that it was ultimately up to me and not up to anyone else to tell me how to live my life and what I wanted to do. And based off of that, I started making decisions for myself, more and more decisions for myself, which ultimately led me up to feeling like sex wasn't important, and that sex had caused me a lot of trauma in my life, and caused me to lose out and miss out on a lot of time in life with not just myself and the true authentic me, but as well as my kids not being able to fully see the true authentic me as well, and for me to really truly love myself, because I was choosing other things along with always being there for them, but also choosing to love men who didn't really 100% love me for me. So I ended up cutting all of that stuff out this year, and so far it's been on half a year going on 7 months since I've been sexually active, and I don't plan on it. I don't plan on doing it at all until I'm married, and so I don't see marriage in sight anytime soon. I've been on my spiritual journey, and so because I'm on my spiritual journey and I'm connected with God, I made God a promise that I wouldn't, and I have been keeping with that promise, and I've been keeping it with myself, and I've been really happy, and I've been able to heighten my intuition, and I've been able to hear clearer, and I've been able to protect me and my children by abstaining from sexual activity. And yeah, so even though people haven't tried to engage in dating me and stuff like that, I just choose to love on myself and focus on myself and not even date, because I know that a lot of men, that's ultimately what they want to do. And once I start telling them, like once we get more and more into conversations that I don't do drugs or alcohol, or I don't have sex and stuff like that, it's like, what honestly, what guys in 2022 don't have sex, right? And so yeah, so I've been happy, and I'm sticking to my goal of what I want for myself. And I've had a lot of temptation, but I refrain from it, and I just remember what, by me being in my right mind, what I told myself, and pretty much no amount of fun will lead me to being able to do it. So yeah. My goal is to redo my life, and I've been rebirthed, and there's never a time where you can say that you can't change yourself and evolve and grow, because that's what the universe is all about. So I've been evolved, and I've been continuing to evolve, and by evolving I've been abstaining from sex, and it's helped me. And so hopefully what I'm talking about, someone can resonate with it, or it can help someone to understand a little bit about my journey and how I got here, because I heard Spirit telling me to tell you guys about my current situation. And even though it's not even a situation, it's more so just like a choice, and for me it's been a healthy choice, and it's protected me a lot from diseases and stuff like that, and basically from being able to contract anything, because I know there's a lot of people who I have known or dated who have ultimately ended up, after I've dated them, contracting STDs. And when they would tell me about it, it would be like, "Ooh, God is so good," from preventing that from happening to me. So yeah, I ended up getting tested and finding out that I was negative from everything, and it really was a blessing to me, and God saved me and spared me. And I know He don't always give people second chances and stuff like that, even though I've been involved in a lot of risky behavior, but He's kept me. And I know that because He's kept me, I really have a big journey. And so because I have such a big journey, He's wanted to prolong my life by not allowing me to come or cross paths with people who are at risk of, or who do have sexual STDs. And I know that, and like all of you know, or some of you may know, that when you're encountering or involved in sexual activities, especially if you're having them unprotected, you run a risk of contracting STDs, some that can go away and some that are incurable. And so, yeah, I'm healthy, and I want to continue to stay healthy. And so I feel like the best way for me to do that is by me staying with myself and being to myself and not having to worry about that. And even if that means that I remain single for the rest of my life, it will be okay, as long as I have a relationship with God, which I know I will always have. That is everlasting. And so it's been freeing for me, and it's been peace of mind for me. And so, yeah. Hopefully that if you have been contemplating on if that's something you can do or you should do in order for you to heighten and have a better relationship with yourself, as well as enabling you to have a better relationship with God, and yeah, you'll be able to connect with them without having soul ties, because you do create soul ties when you have sex with other people, and you even get those different spirits on you from the other people that they've been sexually involved with. And so because I don't want any of that coming to me, I just stay by myself. So yeah, Well, this is the end of my video, but I know it was all over the place, but hopefully you guys got what you needed out of it. And you can use my story to help enable you to start your journey if you want to. Take it if you do, take it if you don't, that's okay as well. I still respect you all, and any decisions that you choose to make. Just remember, whatever decisions that you're making careful ones, and making sure that sex will always be there. So if you have confidence and boldness within yourself, tell people to show you their paperwork, or go with them and get tested, because some people do work in medical fields or have family that's working in medical fields who can alter, or their family will alter their medical records, and they may have something, and they won't share that with you because it's so embarrassing, whatever the STD may be. So yeah. Be careful. Make sure that if you're not going to go and get tested together, that you're using sexual protection and protecting yourself, okay? I love you all so much, and protect yourselves and love on yourselves today. Have an awesome, positive day on purpose. Bye.